Good evening to another session of God's Golden Nugget. Tonight we're going to be talking about, my name is Minister Patrice, first of all, and tonight we're going to be talking about meeting God's conditions. Jesus, he endured our poverty so that we might share in his abundance. We must make a important logical distinction between earning God's grace, which is impossible, and meeting God's conditions, which is obligatory. We cannot earn God's abundance when it comes only through grace. However, we are required to meet the conditions God has laid out for receiving his abundance through faith. If we do not meet these conditions, our faith has no scriptural foundation. In fact, it's merely a presumption. To meet God's conditions, our motives and attitudes must be right. We would do well to examine our motives very carefully, especially concerning monetary gain. Impure motives concerning money would include idolizing wealth, coveting, which is idolatry, as it says in Colossians 3 and 5. The love of money is the root to all kinds of evil, which is in 1 Timothy 6 and 10. Pursuing wealth by sinful methods. Like a partridge that hatches eggs, it did not lay, is the man who gains riches by unjust means. That's Jeremiah 17 and 11. Proverbs 28 and 8, trusting ultimately in wealth for security and well-being. He who trusts in his riches will fall. Proverbs 11:28. Let not the rich man glory in his riches. Jeremiah 9:23. Using wealth for selfish gain and self-serving interest. There is one who withholds more than is right, but it leads to poverty. Proverbs 11:24. In Luke 12:16 through 21, Jesus relates the parable of a rich man who built bigger barns and filled them with his produce. But the Lord said to him, "Fool, this night your soul will be required of you." That's in verse 20. Luke 12 and 20. Jesus then added, "So is he who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich towards God." That's in verse 21. The first direction in which we need to be rich is towards God. In other words, we need to make God our first, our last, our middle. If our motives are not pure, the Lord will not answer that prayer. So it's important to make sure that you have the right attitude when you're seeking God for any type of assistance, or you have a prayer before the Lord. You need to make sure that your motives are right and that your heart is pure. You have to make sure. You have to make sure that your motives are right and your heart is pure. That's our nugget for this evening. See you next time. God bless you all. In Jesus' mighty name.